The train left the station at noon. By then, so many little things had gone wrong that Lucy couldn't help but wonder whether her journey was ill-fated. Firstly, she had intended to be on an earlier train, the one that left at 10, but one of the horses pulling the carriage taking her to the station had thrown a shoe, delaying her by almost 2 hours. When she finally arrived, the heel of her left boot snapped off, causing her to sprain her ankle. Once she was seated within the train, she thought herself momentarily safe from the common misfortune that had dogged her that morning. This proved to be an illusion when the fellow passenger, a middle-aged woman who smelled strongly of rosewater, dumped her travel bag onto Lucy's lap. Startled, Lucy jerked in her seat. The book she had been idly flicking through, a collection of Gothic tales translated from English, fell from her lap. Between its pages, tucked there carefully to prevent loss and creases, lay the most recent letters from her twin sister, Sarah. They spilled onto the floor and under the seats. "Oh my!" the woman said. She snatched up the bag as if afraid Lucy would make away with it. "I didn't see you," she said, by way of explanation. Then she said, "You really should be more careful, you know." Lucy, who had dropped to her knees to gather her precious letters, only smiled wanly in response. Offended, the woman huffed and sat in Lucy's seat. Lucy opened her mouth to tell her, then decided against it and took an empty seat by the window. She brushed away the dust and hair that clung to the envelopes, then smoothed them carefully and counted them to make sure she had retrieved them all. Merely looking at them had her feeling restless and sick, her sternum throbbing as if a piece of string had been wound around the bone and someone were trying to gather it up, pulling her along with it. She did not have long to muse on these sensations. The only other passenger in the carriage, the woman who smelled of rosewater, let out a scream a mere 5 minutes after the train had pulled out of the station. "Oh, my God!" she shrieked, pressing her hand to her chest. "What?" Lucy asked wildly. "What is it?" The woman pointed. At first Lucy had no idea at what. Then she saw a spider had crawled onto the window pane on their side of the glass. It was only little, barely bigger than the nail of Lucy's thumb. "Oh," Lucy said, "don't worry, it won't hurt you." The woman shook her head. Her eyes had gone round, leaving the irises all rimmed with white. "Get it away from me!" she gasped, as if her fear were so potent it was choking her. Perhaps this is another sign, Lucy thought, as she took a letter out of its envelope and placed it in her lap. Though a sign of what, she didn't know, and besides, signs were cheap when you went looking for them. Better just to focus on the task at hand. She applied pressure to the sides of the envelope, causing it to gape open, then carefully brushed the spider inside. Spiders did not frighten her, nor did any other insect, for that matter. Aunt Adelheid, her mother's eccentric older sister, had loved them and studied them obsessively. One of Lucy's earliest memories was of herself and Sarah sitting on a blanket in the garden while Aunt Adelheid dug into a patch of earth close to them.